Hello, this is Kara from Kara Tarot. And recently I came across, I think, an older video by Astral Lady Tarot called Show Me How You Practice. I actually probably saw it months ago, and I just felt kind of convicted by that in terms of don't just show me your pretty cards, show me how you actually work. And so today, I am shifting to a new deck for the beginning of the week for St. Patrick's Day week. And you might have noticed all of my cards this month so far have kind of a green coloration at times. So that was intentional. That was kind of how I selected my decks. So what I do is I have some longer range decks that I work with one at a time for affirmation or daily information draws. I have the deck that I work with for the month, which you have been seeing in other videos, the William Blake Tarot. And then I have decks that I switch out. I have two decks that I switch out every week, and they're not always tarot decks. Sometimes it's a tarot and an oracle. And for me, this is just kind of to make sure that I keep working with other decks. So that's kind of on a schedule. But then, of course, I have new decks that come in, and sometimes they bump things. But let's start where I usually start every day, which is I have several months ago on Instagram, I started posting a daily scripture card using the Contemplative Tarot by Brittany Muller. Each card has either a scripture quote or a quote by some religious thinker, Christian thinker. So once I went through the Distant Past Tarot this way, I decided that this would be a good way to approach the Terra Volatile, because I think I've said before, when I first started looking at these, I felt like they literally had a shadow over them. Not just that they can be dark. Of course, they're very well lit right now, but they can be dark. But I felt it was more than that. I felt it was an actual veil or a shadow over them, which has only just started to lift for me. So what I do with this deck is, most of you will be familiar with Terra Volatile, fairly traditional images with incredibly beautiful artwork. I don't think it is a collage deck, but it's a collage-inspired illustration kind of thing. What I do with this is I shuffled them all very well, and then I keep that shuffling for the entire deck, because I want to be sure to see every single card and use every single card. And then I just pick the card of the day. This is the one for today, Knight of Coins, which I pulled yesterday, and I said I was in love with him. Now he's back. And then the next day I just put this in the back, and the next one is on top. And for this exercise, I'm actually keeping them in the box. Hold on a second. And I just lost them all over the floor. So I'm going to pause. Okay, so that just messed up my system for the month, because as I said, I usually keep them in the box and pull the top one and put them behind in order, and that's how I've been using these. And because they all just fell on the floor, that messed up that order, so I don't know where it starts, and so I'll deal with that when I get to it. Anyway, the whole point is that I only go through each card once, but now that they've fallen off of here, I will have to deal with that. So I choose the Knight of Coins. Now, which actually kind of reinforces the way I have the Dali Tarot stacked. The Dali Tarot has in its guidebook for each card, it has practical advice. So I'm using that practical advice by way of being an affirmation for each day. And as I said, both of these things usually go on my Instagram. Now, what I do with the Dali Tarot is the ones I haven't used, I keep face down, and I flip the next one up. And clearly, that's a better system because even if they fell, they would probably all stay face up and face down the way they were. Not necessarily, anyway. So much for my wonderful systems of how to make sure I go through each card once. So what I would normally do is I would be posting these on Instagram as a daily scripture card and a daily practical advice. I'm not doing that right now because it's Lent and I am taking off from Facebook and Instagram for the most part for Lent. I've made some slips, but for the most part. And it's mainly so that I can get away from the daily insanity of what's going on politically here in America. It's the increased arguments. Our current president does nothing as well as sowing discord and creating divisions, and he's very successful at that chaos. So let's calm down a bit and return to this. So the Knight of Coins, normally I would be posting on Instagram, but today I'll just be reading that with you. And then, so in the absence of posting them, I'm putting them in a notebook. This is my tarot notebook. And so I'm just trying to look up she has the court cards at the back. And here is, so let's single him out for a bit. The Knight of Coins, and this is from the Terra Volatile deck. Quote, Saint Joseph did not do extraordinary things, but rather by the constant practice of ordinary and common virtues, he attained that sanctity which elevates him above all the other saints. And that's end quote. That's a quote by Joseph Morello. So the Knight of Coins, the scripture card, the daily scripture card for the Knight of Coins. And now I'm going to move this up here. The Empress from the Dali Tarot. And I will look up the practical advice for the Empress. It's worth noting because of the artwork of Salvador Dali. This is his wife, Gala. He often used her as a model, and it's kind of obvious when he uses her. So he used himself for the Magician and used her for the Empress. But they both show up in other places in this deck. So the daily practical advice, the Empress from the Dali Tarot, and the writing for this deck is done by Johannes Fiebig. Quote, in order to be happy and feel good, it is important to create your own realm and to establish and follow rules that underpin your well-being and the pleasure of your experience. Take charge of your daily well-being. Ban false goddesses and foreign empresses from your life. End quote. Sorry, I think I knocked this off kilter. So that is your daily practical advice from the Dali Tarot. And as I said, currently I am putting those in a notebook. I avoid the word journal because I have negative connotations with the word journal. So next, I have the two decks that I am using for this week, that I am beginning to use this week. One is the Tarot de Marsaille-Waite, which really is a Rider-Waite-Smith deck, illustrated in the Tarot de Marseille style, but then all of the cards are illustrated. And as you can see, as I flip through here, it has this gorgeous jade green as a predominant color. Jade green, Loden greens, they're all a predominant color. So that's why this was my top choice. I actually, because of the beautiful jade green color in this, I miss this deck. Even though I'm not fond of this art style, I miss it because of those shades of jade green. And then the other deck that I'm using this week also has quite a few greens in it, and this is the Dreaming Way Tarot, which I have done a separate deck review of. Just a charming deck. And this is also a deck that I start missing if I don't use it. This would be a great deck for those of you who work on childhood issues. So, and what I usually do with these is I vary the way that I work with them, either together or separately. Again, if I were on my regular Instagram, I would use one of them for a 4-card draw, and then the other one I would use to work through questions on of the Connect with Your Deck card a day. As I think you can see, I've filled most of this out. I began this because I just thought it was a good way to make sure I do this every day and that I start a practice. And then instead of just having one practice, I've now developed like 5 daily practices, and that's all for the good. That's all great. I have mentioned before that I have multiple times through my life since childhood picked up tarot, dropped it, picked it up, dropped it, picked it up, dropped it. So I'm not one of those people that even though it's been in and out of my life for 50 years now, I haven't been reading for 50 years. I certainly haven't been reading for other people for 50 years. And I think it was only about 5 years ago that I really said, I want to like pare back. I want to go backwards. I want to really start at the beginning again and make sure I get really serious about it. And that's when I started collecting more too. Up until then, I only had 3 decks. So anyway, today's question, March 15th, 2025. I'm sorry, 16th. Ask the High Priestess card, how can I listen to my intuition? So, of course, and they have different kinds of prompts for every day. So even though these are, normally I'd be pulling cards, or that is a card a day, but I usually tend to draw at least 3 cards. But depending on what their prompt is. Since their prompt is about the High Priestess, I just thought I would pull those 2 High Priestesses. And so we just get a look at the range of the High Priestess and representations. But, you know, I was that student in class that if it was a class that I liked, I had to go ahead and do 10 times more than the teacher was asking for. So I also pulled the High Priestess from the Dali Tarot and the Terra Volatile. So let me move these over. and the William Blake Tarot. Can I get these all in here? Yeah. And I think you may have seen my series 5 on deck, because I haven't done the High Priestess for that. This will be my spiritual leading that I need to resume doing my 5 on deck series, and that these are the 5 cards I will use for the High Priestess, because I had not done the High Priestess in that series yet. And it really is just a comparison of the High Priestess cards to see the similarities and the differences. Notice almost everything is renamed in the William Blake suit, and this one is Mystery. And we sort of have pillars created here, but then we also have almost the back of a chair created by male and female, and here she has a book. We have the water. Not sure what these creatures are. There's always a lot of little things to interpret in the William Blake Tarot. Dali's High Priestess is surprisingly much more traditional. It doesn't say that that's the Torah in her hands, but it is the rolled up scroll. She has a cat statue here, one of his own drawings, kind of breathing fire into the red behind her. Her gown still looks like water, and we have the 2 pillars. Again, a much more traditional interpretation here. The Dreaming Way, of course, is different. It has this childhood element. The moon with these little bubbles on it, or are they eyes, or are they both? And then the Terra Volatile. Classical in interpretation. And with this headdress somewhere between La Pépesse and the High Priestess. So as far as the exercise of, what I would say to them, that's something I'm going to keep private, but so I pulled these cards for this exercise, and then I will be doing a 5 on deck today or tomorrow with these cards. And so that work I would note in the Connect with Your Deck book that I'm working through. Whatever I'm doing with that. So I'm going to take a break and kind of clear up my area a little bit, and then I'll continue. And now I continue with a general reading for the day with the William Blake Tarot. Again, greenbacks are part of why I decided to make this my deep dive this month. I'm on this, as someone once told me that I'm very festive. I tend to, kind of like an elementary school teacher, I tend to celebrate all the little holidays and decorate for them when I can, or choose colors for them. So this is a larger deck. It's oracle size, which can make it a little hard to shuffle even with my large hands. And then it also is a little thicker. I'm always of 2 minds about why I need to shuffle in a video. I know when I'm watching a video, I feel like I don't need to shuffle. I don't need to show them that I shuffled. If they don't believe that I actually shuffled, why are they watching my channel? So what I do, different people have different ways of choosing. I am looking for either a tingling or a heat, usually, from one of the stacks. And this is just for, as I said, a general reading for the day with the William Blake Tarot. The Two of Poetry. Every man's wisdom is peculiar to his own individuality. Something to consider on this card. The mirror, is that person looking in the mirror, or is that person holding a mirror up to the world? Clearly, it would be vanity if the mirror were being held up to herself. I think that's a female character. This little angel appears to be bowing down to a mirror, so maybe that is vanity is the image portrayed here, except that this is talking about your own personal wisdom and your own individuality. So maybe in this respect, it's good to look at yourself. This is the Earth sign. Individuality is the name of this card. Poetry is about eternal truths. The Two of Poetry. We appear to have almost a volcano in the background there. That would be your wisdom or your individuality heating up, blowing up. Add to that, card we had yesterday. This is happening to me a lot lately, where I'll be working with one deck, and that deck gives me cards from the day before and then adds things to it. So prophecy is, again, the Earth card. Poetry is about eternal truths. I discussed in that one, this could potentially be a lemniscate because it's hidden behind here. But if you notice here, we have another one here. So these are circles. That doesn't necessarily change the meaning of eternity, because in many cultures, a circle is the meaning of eternity. Wedding bands are often thought of as never ending, and that is why the ring is worn. The Ten of Poetry, this is its completion of eternal truth, prophecy. In futurity, I prophetic see that the earth from sleep shall arise and seek for her maker meek, and the desert wild become a garden mild. We have a garden imagery, and then this, I love this card. This is the first time I really noticed it yesterday when I pulled it, with the ocean that has all these beautiful colors in it. And then the green garden of the land is almost water-like itself. This person in total subjugation in prayer and being influenced by the four angels, four being a really stable aspect. Oh, another card that I've had several times recently. Boldness. The times require that everyone should speak out boldly in arts as well as arms or in the Senate. I broke my Lenten being off of Facebook and Instagram for this card, because I think it so very much applies to the personal and the corporate as what we need right now in this country. So right away, we have three Earth cards. We have boldness, prophecy, and individuality. So clearly you have, I love the way this progresses. It progresses from yourself and your inner wisdom, and then addressing and adding to that your devotion, your spiritual learning, your complete subjugation of yourself to your highest goals, and then going forward into the world, speaking out boldly, whether you're an artist, military, or Senate, or whatever your job is, that you go forward boldly, using these things for you to speak truth to power. And even though this person is telling this little person to get out, this is the person you need to be speaking to stand up straight, stand up strong with your hand over your heart. What a great, great reading for today. So I will leave you with that. This is Kara from Kara Tarot, and I'm answering hashtag SMHYP, show me how you practice. I came across that hashtag from Astral Lady Tarot. And it's something that I think we all could be doing more of instead of just showing our beautiful cards, showing a little bit more of how we work with them. And I hope you like that. I hope you found this interesting. And I'd love to see more about how you practice. I leave you with this. My blessings to you on your day.